Grand Rising, and welcome to another segment of CLG View Point. I'm Cindy Lorraine Grais, and it's such an honor and a pleasure to have you here with me today. Well, today is Saturday, May 24th, 2025. In the Kingdom of Canada, it's Divina Industria, Divine Life, day 26, year 0035. My Friday's segment had to be canceled because of one article that I had on a specific ailment. And so I had to remove it, and now I'm replacing it with this one here today. And I hope you enjoy this changed segment. Well, each segment I start with a sage clearing. For some of you who haven't heard of a sage clearing, it's a process where I clear out all the negative energies, leaving each segment with positive energy. I have a sage stick here right now, and I just light this up here. To all low energy entities, you are sent back to your perfect place, and so it is. I am divine love, and I am divine gratitude. Now, on to today's messages. We'll be covering how to build a greenhouse. And under local news, Northwestern Ontario community plagued with rash of arsons involving youth. CRD launches AAP to borrow $33 million to acquire lands next to region's water supply. Proposed Northwest B.C. LNG project secures another major global customer. And Mart has finally opened its doors in Victoria, B.C. So now on to the video, how to build a greenhouse. What a wonderful design. An amazing job on that little greenhouse. A great way to start off your seedlings and then move them on into the garden. And now on to under local news. Northwestern Ontario community plagued with rash of arsons involving youth. CTV News written by Dan Bertrand, published May 21st, 2025. Police are investigating 8 arson incidences in a remote Northwestern Ontario community since January, with damages of more than $1 million and 11 youth suspects arrested. The Anishinaabe Police Service, NAPS, confirmed 10 suspects have been charged in connection with the fires in the Sachiko Lake First Nation, all between the ages of 11 and 16. The first fire destroyed a new trailer home in January 23rd, causing $270,000 in damages. The next day, an abandoned house burned, resulting in $200,000 in damages. 4 suspects were identified and 3 young females, ages 12, 13, and 15, were charged. In this case, an 11-year-old male accused was not charged due to their age, police said in a news release on Wednesday. The next fire caused approximately $20,000 in damage to a baseball field stage on April 18th. Another new trailer home was destroyed the next day, causing $272,000 in damages. 4 females aged 12, 13, and 2 15-year-olds were charged. A trailer at a lumber yard burned on April 23rd at an estimated loss of $175,000, and a shed was destroyed, causing another estimated $6,000 in damages. Less than a week later, on April 29th, a shack at a lumber yard suffered an estimated $9,000 in damage. The most recent incident happened on May 3rd, when parked school bus was torched, causing $50,000 in damages. 3 females, 1 15-year-old, and 2 16-year-olds were charged. The identities of accused individuals are being withheld from the public in accordance with the Youth Criminal Justice Act. The police service said the investigation into these incidences remains ongoing. My personal thoughts. They're so young. All these youths should be tried under natural law. Where were the parents? And do you think they should take some responsibility? Especially for the 11 and 12-year-old children that were part of this criminal act. Who was monitoring the children? Something to think about. CRD launches an AAP to borrow $33 million to acquire lands next to region's water supply. Check News, written by Laura Brogum, May 22nd, 2025. The Capital Regional District is hoping to purchase a plot of land next to the region's drinking water supply and has now launched an alternative approval process to consent to borrow $33.3 million. The CRD is hoping to buy the land, which is adjacent to the Souk Lake Reservoir catchment area, which is the region's drinking water supply from the Kapoor Lumber Company. The regional district says this land has been identified as an acquisition priority since it is in the catchment area, which makes them crucial for safeguarding the region's water supply and water transmission infrastructure. To protect the drinking supply, the CRD says it employs a multi-barrier approach, one of which is protecting the watershed. This additional management control will help safeguard our public drinking water supply by reducing the risk of trespass, human-caused contamination, and wildfires, said CRD. The regional district had 2 independent land appraisers evaluate the land and has put the sale value at $33.3 million, which is between the 2 appraisal values. It now needs to seek approval from the region's residents to borrow the money as a long-term debt. It aims to do this through an alternative approval process, or AAP. Through an AAP approval, it's considered to be gained unless 10% of eligible electors submit a form opposing the action. The CRD says this would mean 31,512 residents would have to submit a form opposing the borrowing. If the money is borrowed, the CRD estimates it would cost the average household $14 per year over the 15 to 30-year repayment period. That's 15 to 30 years to repay it. The deadline to submit a form opposing the borrowing is June 30 at 4:30 p.m. The form can be downloaded from the CRD website. Another CRD AAP to borrow money for the Souk Skate Park and Sea Park mechanical equipment has a submission deadline of May 23rd. The CRD also recently completed another AAP to form a regional transportation service, the results of which will be shared by June 11th. Recent AEPs have been seen mixed results. At the same time as the CRD AAP process begins, Saanich is also undergoing its own AAP to borrow money to rebuild its operations center. The CRD also recently completed 3 other AAPs, 2 in 2025 and 1 in 2024, all of which passed. Comox Valley also had 4 AAPs. 4 successfully passed, though the processes saw a high number of rejected forms due to residents not of the specific region submitting forms. However, other regions on Vancouver Island have been less successful using an AAP. Nanaimo made 3 attempts at an AAP for a brand new public works yard, after the first had to be thrown out due to an administrative error. The second was abandoned partway through due to another administrative error. Then the third failed after receiving more than 10% of elector responses. Ladysmith also had more than 10% of electors submit responses rejecting a plan to build a brand new city hall. In the news, an AAP for water storage improvements was also rejected, with more than 10% of electors submitting forms, as was the Regional District of Nanaimo's AAP for funding to build a brand new aquatic center. Personal thoughts. With all these regional districts wanting to borrow money, there needs to be a full forensic audit under natural law, making sure all the financial records are in order before any thought of borrowing funds. If you borrow funds and payments can't be made, then again, are the people of each district willing to pay more in taxes? Don't these public officials realize that over 50% of the people in Canada can't pay their bills because of the high cost of basic living needs and the enormous amount of taxes that are paid by each Canadian individual? Full forensic audit for sure is warranted here. Proposed Northwest B.C. LNG project secures another major global customer. Total Energies, a global super major oil and gas company, agrees to buy 1/6 of proposed facility's projected annual production. Ladysmith Shemaina's Chronicle, written by Tom Barker on May 22nd, 2025. The proposed KSI licensed LNG natural gas liquefaction and export facility is still years away from completion, and the pipeline proposed to feed it is embroiled in legal battles. But the company already has a commitment from a major global customer to buy its product. Total Energies, one of the world's 7 super major oil and gas companies, recently announced the agreement that would see purchase 2 million tons per annum of LNG from the proposed facility. That represents 1/6 of KSI license projected capacity of 12 million tons annually. This purchase of LNG from the future KSI license LNG plant will allow us to diversify our LNG portfolio in North America and benefit from competitive LNG supply in Western Canada to better serve our Asian customers, with whom we are developing a significant portfolio of long-term supply contracts, said Stephanie Michel, President of Gas Renewables and Power at Total Energies. In a parallel deal, France-based Total Energies acquired 5% of Texas-based Western LNG, the Nisga's nation's partner in the KSI licensed LNG and Prince Rupert gas transmission pipeline projects. As part of our integrated strategy, we are also pleased to partner with Western LNG to support the development of this very low CO2 emission liquefaction plant project, Michael continued. The project aims to be net zero ready by 2030, contingent on BC Hydro being able to provide the power to run the plant. If the connection to the BC Hydro grid is delayed, the plan is to use energy barges. In a separate press release, KSI License LNG noted it has been 25 years since the nation's treaty with the federal and provincial governments, touted as the first modern-day comprehensive treaty in British Columbia, came into effect. For a quarter of a century, Nitska citizens have waited to see the kind of transformative opportunity our treaty envisioned. That's why it is especially meaningful to see KSI license LNG processing steadily toward construction, said Eva Clayton, president of the Nitska License Government. Total Energy shares our vision of bringing cleaner energy to the world, advancing Indigenous leadership in the global economy, and sharing our deep commitment to environmental stewardship. Now, this is the second sale and purchase agreement KS License has signed following a similar deal with Shell Oil finalized early in 2024. Shell will also offtake 2 million tons per year pending completion of this project. My personal thoughts. This may possibly bring more jobs to our Canadian nationalists. As under natural law in the Kingdom of Canada, we are all Indigenous. Every single Canadian nationalist is Indigenous. For further information is thekingdomofcanada.ca. At that website, further information under natural law, thekingdomofcanada.ca. H Mart in Victoria opens doors to excited crowd. Some first-time shoppers say they were curious about the hype the store generated. Greater Victoria News Staff, May 22nd, 2025. The popular Korean and Asian supermarket chain, which boasts several locations on the Lower Mainland, welcomed its first customers at Mayfair Shopping Center on Thursday, May 22nd at 9 a.m. Fans of the Asian specialty grocer were abuzz, with hundreds lining up as early as 7 a.m. It's overwhelming to see hundreds of people today show up for the opening of H Mart. Everyone's been waiting for this, and we're thankful to have them as part of the community, said Linda Shin, the CEO of Central Walks, owners of Mayfair Shopping Center. A lion dance, a traditional bringing good luck and fortune, marked the store's opening with officials from Mayfair, their ownership group, Central Walk, and H Mart in attendance. The first 500 customers received a free $5 gift card. I've never been in a store like this before. It's our first, so I'm excited, said Terry, a day one shopper. There's been a lot of hype about it, so I'm waiting to go in to see what all the hype is about. I hope I get pleasantly surprised. The opening ceremonies will continue until May 25th, featuring appearances by a K-pop dance team and a taekwondo demonstration. It will be a little different each day. There will be a show every day, says Tae Kim, the marketing and PR manager for H Mart B.C. ahead of the store's opening. Originally slated to open in November of 2023, the launch was unexpectedly delayed, with initial reports pushing the opening back to 2025. We had to build a whole system in the store. It was the biggest challenge for us. It was a refrigeration and freezer system. said Kim. And also the power. They didn't use that much power, so we had to add more power transferred to the unit. But now Kim is excited to see the store finally open for business. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback from the people around our store. We are happy to be here, and we are glad to have a lot of people show up this morning. Thank you, Victoria. Known for its extensive selection of fresh groceries and favorite Korean foods, H Mart, which was slated to open in 2025, promises to be a welcome addition to Victoria's culinary landscape. Kim says the store will feature 50% Korean products, 30% Chinese, Japanese, and Southeastern Asian products, with a small selection of Western dairy, meat, and produce rounding out their selections. The store will also feature butchery and seafood sections, cosmetics, and a French Asian bakery tous les jours. The store plans to hire 100 to 120 local employees, with 70 already on the payroll as of May 14th. I'm super excited. H Mart definitely brings new energy and excitement to the mall, says May Wang, General Manager of Mayfair Shopping Center. And now on to a short video.
Open in Victoria. Let me take you inside for a first look at the store. This place is huge. Just look at the snack aisle. You'll find all the popular Asian snacks here. But my favorite part is the meat section. We all know how amazing the quality of Korean meat is. And here you can find all kinds of cuts perfect for hot pot and barbecue. Next stop, the cosmetic section. If you're a K-beauty lover like me, you're going to love this. They've stocked all the most popular Korean skincare brands, from sheet masks to serums and more. Plus, there's a fresh bakery, tons of Asian condiments and sauces, live seafood, and honestly, the best selection of instant noodles. If you're in Victoria, you have to check it out.
Personal thoughts. Exciting news, as H Mart is bringing in more jobs for the local citizens in Victoria and around the areas, and more ethnic food options. Now, my last personal thoughts. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency have commissioned a killing for 400 beautiful ostriches. There is a court order in place, and these beautiful ostriches do not have the flu and have herd immunity. So why the senseless killings? Even on the government website states there is no evidence that humans can even contract the avian flu. This is a travesty. I have a short video and a website where you can make contact with the owners of the ostrich farm, and there is a petition on change.org. Change.org. The last time I looked, there was nearly over 30,000 signatures. Many people feel the same. They do not want these ostriches to be culled or killed. This petition is for the removal of the CEO of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. And now to the short video. I am Cindy Lorraine Grais of CLG View Point, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. for you being here today with me. If you can feel compelled to, please share this forum. And I end off with a beautiful video of BC. This was produced and written by myself. Enjoy. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week on either Tuesdays or Wednesday. Have a wonderful weekend. It's a lovely sunny day. Enjoy the time out in the forest or for a walk, or take off your shoes and socks and get grounded in the grass, whatever you choose. And now on to the video.